Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, is brought to you by Geico, 85 years of savings and service. Texas Lottery, play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. And by Whataburger. Stop on by Whataburger and try the patty melt today. It's an all-time favorite for a reason.
It is the second week in October, second Friday in October. This is Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans, and this is Friday Night Stars on a Thursday night. And Kyle, as you know, this is my favorite college football weekend of the year. What's going to happen at 11 a.m. on Saturday at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. But we're going to preview Thursday night and Friday night. And all those players that Oklahoma gets from Texas, well, they're playing on Thursday night and Friday night. We're previewing them.
I was about to say, there are a lot of future Longhorns and Sooners playing throughout high school football in the state of Texas coming either tonight or tomorrow night. I think there's a lot of preview to be had amongst the area.
That's right. And in fact, a rather prominent Oklahoma State Cowboy commit is featured in our Whataburger Game of the Week this week. We kick things off with the Whataburger Game of the Week. Euless Trinity Trojans playing at the North Crowley Panthers. District 3-6A battle. Trinity at 4-1 on the season. Coming off a 10-2 year last year under head coach Chris Jensen against a North Crowley team that's also 4-1 on the season under head coach Courtney Allen. This should be a good matchup.
No doubt about it. I mean, you look at Ollie Gordon as the quarterback. He is really leading a very Trinity-like offense with 930 rushing yards, only 215 passing yards overall. And I really like what Gary Maddox brings to the table. 19 combined touchdowns throughout the two of those guys in that Trinity backfield.
And Ollie Gordon, now they were off last week, but in the 48-0 win over arch rival LD Bell, he was not just playing quarterback, he was playing some running back, and he went off for 246 yards and 5 touchdowns on 18 carries. The Oklahoma State commit. He is one of those Landry Award candidates. He should be near the top of your list. But Trinity, they've been doing it for so long, running the football, their specialty. Running
the football and playing stout defense. This defense really gets after opposing offenses, and they're going to do that again against North Crowley this week. Their only loss for Trinity this season was to that #1 Westlake squad from down in the Hill Country. I really like North Crowley, though. Off to their best start since 2005. Last year was the first time to 5+ wins since that 2005 season. Quentin Jackson's playing some really good football right now. 11 touchdowns, just 1 interception, and he's running it really well. That dual threat ability from Jackson is going to give that offense a couple opportunities against a really good Trojans.
And you know, the individual matchup that I'm looking forward to when Trinity plays North Crowley, when Trinity's on offense, we talk about Ollie Gordon, but in my research on this North Crowley team, I love the linebacker, number 15, Smaje Burrell. Check out him as he comes onto the field, the somersault, the backflip. That's how athletic that guy is. And Joey McGuire down at Baylor, their recruiting coordinator, he's already offered the North Crowley linebacker, Smaje Burrell.
Hey, that's how you get a team fired up. I know if I'm running behind, I would never have an opportunity to do a cartwheel in the backfield like that, but I don't know if I could ever get as hype as that to start off a football game.
Wow, and so you can just imagine. That's the individual matchup to look forward to. Can Burrell stop Ollie Gordon and Trinity? All right, some other notable games around the Metroplex, and how about this one? In District 11-6A as the Waxahachie Indians head to Cedar Hill to take on the Longhorns.
How about Waxahachie and the start that they've had? They're in a 3-way tie for that 11-6A lead with this Cedar Hill squad. This is their toughest test yet, though, and this is a chance to prove whether or not they are legit, and they have to take care of the football. Roderick Hartsfield, the quarterback, 6 interceptions, just 2 touchdowns on the year, but I really like the dual backfield that Waxahachie brings to the table. Iverson Young, over 560 yards and 5 touchdowns, and then Jaden Becks, he can definitely run the football as well. Waxahachie's going to have to take care of the football because this Cedar Hill defense is going to try and take it away.
And a common opponent, both teams have played Lake Ridge. Waxahachie beat Lake Ridge 30-21, while Cedar Hill took down Lake Ridge 38-20. So very similar scores. May give you an idea of what that matchup may be looking like. All right, third game we want to feature here in our opening segment. How about this one at Highland Park? The Longview Lobos Rainbows of Coach John King taking on another legend, Randy Allen's Highland Park Scots, who lost that season opener against South Lake Carroll, but have rattled off 4 straight wins since then.
Yeah, they've rebounded exceptionally well, and they do not lose at home. I think their only home loss of the century to a Texas high school football team was Lone Star 2 seasons ago whenever the Rangers went in there and won. These are 2 of the top 10 programs in the entire state of Texas, and the Dallas Morning News had a great stat this week. Since 2016, Highland Park 70-8 as a program. Longview not far behind at 62-10. These 2 teams were in a defensive battle last year, which was a little bit of a surprise because it was 18-13 and the Scotties came out on top in East Texas. Now the Lobos looking to have a little revenge on the mind this year.
Little note on Highland Park, of course, a program that has produced so many great quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford now with the Rams. Last year's starting quarterback Braden Shager made his first start for the University of Hawaii last weekend as a true freshman, and it was a come-from-behind win for the Rainbows. Brennan Storer, their junior quarterback, he seems to be coming of age, and in their big win against Rockwall a couple of weeks ago, he was 17 out of 19 for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. All right, some other notable games. Let's take our picks out of these. The game at the Gopher Bowl, Grand Prairie and South Grand Prairie. You got Dallas Carter against Dallas Lincoln. And how about this one? You're going to be calling this game. Parish Episcopal taking on PCA.
Yeah, why not? I'll talk about this Parish game at Prestonwood. This is a series that's been very even over the last 11 matchups dating back to 2006. Parish winning 6 out of the 11 matchups. However, this is a chance for Prestonwood. They've lost the last 3 matchups against the Panthers. The Panthers are relying on freshman quarterback Sawyer Anderson, who has been exceptionally good in his first season behind center. But Prestonwood has the junior quarterback McGuire Martin, who's questionable to play. If he does play, though, he could be a difference maker if he's able to find his way on the field. But the X factor for Parish, that man right there, Andrew Paul, 100-plus yards rushing in 4 of the first 5 games for the Parish Panthers this year.
And the game that catches my eye on that slate, that would be the Dallas ISD matchup between the Carter Cowboys and the Lincoln Tigers. And I love the quarterback for Lincoln. Yes, it's a recognizable name in Texas high school football and basketball history. Byron Eaton Jr., of course, his dad. How in the world can be old enough to have a kid in high school already? Byron Eaton Sr. led Lincoln, along with Chris Bosch, to a state championship in basketball and came oh so close to a state football championship as well back in 2004. And, of course, Byron Eaton Sr. went on to play basketball at a very high level for Oklahoma State University.
Yeah, he did. And Chris Bosch is a basketball Hall of Famer at this point, so
right.
It only makes sense that we're right around that time.
That's exactly right. So keep an eye on Byron Eaton Jr., only a sophomore, the quarterback at Lincoln High School in Dallas, just like his father. All right, when we continue here on Friday Night Stars, it's the Showdowns at the Star, and Kyle will be a part of one of those at the top of the hour.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Order online using the app or at Whataburger.com for curbside pickup from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. or delivery. This segment is brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
Friday Night Stars continues now with our Showdowns at the Star here in Frisco this weekend, starting with the Friday night game. The Trailblazers of Lebanon Trail taking on the Red Hawks of Liberty High School, led by quarterback Keldrick Luster. And tonight's game, which Kyle will be calling, he'll be headed down the Nike Star Walk in just a matter of moments right after this show to go call this one. It's a nice little matchup there.
Yeah, it definitely is. Wakeland, and you see that name underneath, Jared White, red hot. Jared White had 419 yards from scrimmage last week and 6 total touchdowns and a win over Heritage. That's a really good Wakeland offensive line that's playing their best football at the moment. As for Independence, that's a team that returned just 3 offensive starters from an explosive offense a year ago, and they are in desperation mode this week to get a win against the Wolverines because, hey, they rebounded last week and they still have a long way to go before they're back to the Knights we've seen in the past.
Well, it really has been a challenge. We don't have very many starters coming back. Probably 90% of our starters have never played a varsity snap before.
No team in Frisco ISD had a season derailed more than Independence in 2020. A senior-laden group and a Division I caliber quarterback started 0-3 before clawing their way back into the playoffs during a shortened season. Unfortunately, this season has a similar feel for Coach Kyle Story's Knights. A 2-3 start headlined by inexperience on both sides of the ball.
Guys don't have a lot of varsity experience and weren't ready for the speed and the physicality of the play, but they're getting there and they're slowly improving each week.
That improvement culminated last week with a 44-21 win over Denton, the first game where everything began to come together for a young team with some noticeable talent.
We lost a lot of people, so we had to work together as a team, and we were able to build good friendship, leadership, everything.
Last year we didn't have a lot of heart because a lot of the guys were already had offers and going D1, but this year, barely any of us have offers, and all of us are trying to, just grind and get better and win.
That work does not stop as a tough challenge lies ahead when the Knights battle a 4-1 Wakeland team this weekend. A must-win for Independence to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Well, it seems like we got a really good cohesive unit this year with our team. The guys play for each other and enjoy being around each other, and they come to work every day and get better every day at practice.
With a win tonight, Independence has a really strong opportunity to potentially win 5 of the remaining 6 games. That would get them to 6-4 and really have them with a good shot to come out of a good, very good District 5 5A Division I, because right now they're behind the 8 ball, but they really need a win tonight.
Boy, that is a tough district. District 5 5A1 with the Lone Star Rangers and Ryan Raiders leading the way.
Ryan, yep. Reedy's in there. I mean, it is a tough district top to bottom.
All right, and we have more Friday Night Stars in just a moment. We're going to take a trip to Salina and check in on those Bobcats when we come back.
This segment was brought to you by Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Stop on by Whataburger and try the patty melt today. It's an all-time favorite for a reason.
Welcome back to Friday Night Stars. In the town of Salina, they have a storied football tradition. They love their football. Yes, Bobcat football. And this year, they love their adopted sons in Salina. Keith Russell has more.
A mother and her 2 sons. If only the story was that simple.
I've seen a lot of drugs, people in and out my house. I've witnessed a ton. It's just a disaster of a life.
Salina junior running back Gabe Gayton is racing past what was and racing toward what is.
Going through the foster homes and, keeping my head up and, just praying to God.
Gabe and 9-year-old brother Takao went through 5 foster homes in upstate New York and had their prayers answered by Stephanie Reisdorf, who met them in 2018, and the connection was instantaneous.
I just felt that they deserved better than what they've had.
March 2020, adopting the 2 Gayton brothers was the easiest and best decision she's ever made.
They absolutely rescued me, taught me how to be selfless and how to love them and how to love myself more.
I love her and I'm thankful for her taking us in.
With painful experiences that cut deep as barbed wire, with Stephanie's sister living in the beautiful city of Salina, the new family agreed a whirlwind change in location was best.
I know if I was still with my biological mom, I don't know if I would have gotten this chance.
What Gabe hopes to impart on others is simply the past is just that, the past. But never should it stop you from having a great future.
He is pushing forward to be the best young man he can be, the best football player he can be, the best student he can be, the best person he can be, regardless of his background.
I look forward to teaching tons of younger kids, how to keep their heads up every day and stay positive.
Because it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
He's fitting in with that orange in Salina, and that is a bright orange, the Salina Bobcats feature.
Yeah, it definitely is. And they have a saying around that part, and that's Salina time. It's Salina time when it comes to the playoffs. They've got themselves a Salina time moment coming up this week with Aubrey on the docket.
At the Aubrey Chaparrals, a 6-0 record on the season, taking on Salina, one of our featured games of the week. And you look at some of the principles involved. Salina off to that 4-1 start, but how tough is Aubrey at 6-0?
Oh, they're really good. And Aubrey, they're for real because they haven't allowed more than 24 points in a game this year, and they haven't scored any less than 27. I mean, the Chaparrals are outscoring opponents 272-79 through those 6 wins. It hasn't been by chance.
Wow, 272-79. You know, I've found some other schools that have a point differential that's very similar to that. They will be featured on my Power Programs this week, and Kyle will have his Power Programs when we come back on Friday Night Stars in just a moment. Friday Night Stars continues now, and how about the rushing performance by senior Jalen Burton for Denton Braswell last week? In a win over Little Elm, he goes for 363 yards and 6 touchdowns. It was a 63-42 win for the Bengals of Braswell. But now, Braswell has a tough assignment this week. Look who they're taking on, the Wildcats of Geyer High School, who are 6-0 on the season.
How about you just throw on the brakes a little bit of Braswell's hot moment there?
I had the pregnant pause there.
You had such a pause.
Let it sink in.
Geyer is next. Yeah, no, Keegan Bird's been playing really good football so far, just under 1,200 yards passing, but this is a Geyer team that is at the top of their game with Jackson Arnold just throwing touchdowns left and right. And then also you think about Geyer, this could be a trap game for them overall because they've got the Allen Eagles on deck next week.
Is that the nugget that you were going to throw out?
That was the nugget I was going to throw out.
You know what? That was the nugget I was going to throw out too. Just to pull back the curtain here, we both wanted to look up a little nugget on Geyer, and we both were looking, when do they play Allen? Well, they play Allen next week. So maybe they'll be looking ahead to Allen. Okay. All right. How about your Power Programs this week?
Yeah, so I've got 3 Power Programs, and I'm calling these the Under the Radar Undefeateds. This is ESD, the Episcopal School of Dallas, 6-0, going for a 7-0 start for the first time since 2007. They beat Houston Bel Air last week in an emphatic fashion on the road. ESD playing their best football in a decade and a half. Lovejoy, man, 5-0, and Chris Ross has that thing rolling. With questions at QB entering the year, well, they've scored no less than 44 points in a game, and they continued to roll all of their opponents. And the Louisville Fighting Farmers, how about that? Damian Martinez, the Oregon State commit, has been playing really good football, and that's a rivalry this week on the docket for them against the Flower Mound Jags. That'll be a fun game, but Louisville's playing good football as well.
All right, here are my Power Programs. How about the Melissa Cardinals? When I opened my Twitter app last Friday night and I saw Melissa 21, Argyle nothing.
How about that?
My jaw dropped. And so credit Melissa. How about that win to improve to 4-2 on the season? The Golden Bears of South Oak Cliff behind running back Keandre Hollywoods.
What's his name?
158 yards rushing, beat Poteet 77-3. They have outscored their last 3 opponents 195-10. And then the Faith Christian Lions from Grapevine have outscored their opponents 219-13 this season. They play at Fort Worth Southwest Christian. So those are my Power Programs.
So you're just the dominance of high school football in the area.
Exactly
Melissa
right.
beating one of the best programs in the state, and then how about the outscoring opponents by a hefty margin?
I'm big into point differentials this week on my Power Programs. All right, when we come back here on Friday Night Stars, it's our Landry Award candidates for this week, featuring some top running backs.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger, was brought to you by Geico, 85 years of savings and service. Texas Lottery, play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. And by Whataburger. Order online using the app or at Whataburger.com for curbside pickup from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. or delivery.
Time for our Landry Award watch list for this week in our final segment here of Friday Night Stars for this week. And these are 1,000-yard rushers in the Metroplex. as we enter week 7 of the season. We talked about Jalen Burton from Braswell High School in our last segment. How about the Plano East running back Ismail Mahdi, Zach Hernandez of Rockwall, Coco Brown of Denton High School?
Yeah, how about the 2 Denton tailbacks? We just mentioned what Burton was able to do against Little Elm and a team with the Lobos that had been playing really, really well through the first 5 weeks of the season. But I want to talk about Coco Brown. I mean, this is about as consistent of a tailback as you've had in the area for Denton High. And for instance, one of their wins this season coming against Frisco Heritage a couple weekends ago, 40 carries, 325 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they needed every single piece of it. Coach Gilchrist talking about that game was like, man, we could not stop Coco Brown. That offensive line, sure, they paved the way, but it was the elusiveness of Brown and the ability to step out of a tackle that really opened that up for a 48-45 win over the Coyotes in Week 5.
And, of course, we've been doing this Landry Award for about a dozen years now. The original Landry Award winner, Jonathan Gray. First 2 years, in fact. Of course, he went on to the University of Texas. So you're watching that game at the Cotton Bowl on Saturday at 11 a.m. Check out Kennedy Brooks, who won the Landry Award when he had such a stellar career at Mansfield High School. I think he's the best player on that Oklahoma offense.
He might be. I mean, going into the year, you thought it was Spencer Rattler, but it's a Texas high school football product that's making the noise. How about that? It's not surprising.
And by the way, that Texas running back who's going to run a roughshod over the Sooners, well, he didn't go to school in Texas. He's from Arizona.
No. You're trying to turn people's minds.
That's exactly right. That does it for Friday Night Stars. We'll see you again next week.